upcoming topic that will come before the board for a vote, and have an extra amount of time to discuss it, or maybe ask questions that will need more information to be gathered, so that you can come to an informed decision later. How often, 4 or 5 times a year we have study session other than budget? Not a lot.
It depends.
It's hard to tell.
Next month we're gonna have, I tried, through time management with the mayor, we tried to equalize the meetings. So the first and third Tuesday of the month is your regular meeting schedule. And if we have a study session like next month in February, the second meeting, which is I believe the 20th, we want to have a study session to talk about some code enforcement updates. So we try to combine that and have it before the regular meetings to the separate night, just to help with time management for everybody on the board and staff. Once in a while, if I think there's a study session that's going to be at least 2 hours, we'll schedule a separate night. But we try to stay on Tuesdays, other than budget, which is hard to do, but we try to schedule all meetings of whatever nature on a Tuesday evening. So, like with my wife, if I'm off on Tuesday, she wonders what's going on, because usually you're gone almost every Tuesday. No, I'm just kidding. But do you have any other questions for Mary? Let's have a quick overview, snapshot. But Mary has a lot of roles in directly dealing with the board as well as staff, so she's kind of a in-between as well as myself, so to speak. So, any questions from the regular board? Okay.
Okay.
It is, yeah, it's just after 7, so we've already wrapped it up, Mayor.
Yes, yes. For all of you, this is Hope Morris, my Mayor Pro Tem. If I'm not here, she runs things, and she runs a tight ship. So let's take about 5 minutes. We'll get organized, and then we'll take off.
That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Shirley, you want to grab a packet?
Come on, Shirley.
Come on. Come on.
Think of the power.
I couldn't even prove that in 1 second. You get my signatures right now.
You're about to get all 10 of them, right?
Kind of wanted over the sun.
We need as many people to run as we can.
You have any questions?
We need your blood.
I can get that out.
I'll probably grab a
Yeah.
You want to get one?
I knew you better off the last day.
I work in rural areas, helping me get here during business hours.
Oh, sure.
Well, if you don't turn into
Well, hurry up.
You too.
You must have some kind of excitement going on tonight.
Oh, yeah.
And are you going
Some of them were confused.
street address for now, and just, yeah. And you mentioned that your wife might
That's what I've heard.
circulate on your behalf, you want me to go with you?
Not a
Get on
No
the
matter
board,
how
it's
we
like
put
danger.
things.
You're right there.
And, let me go ahead.
Well, they would have been prepared.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of rules, but it's,
As long as
But
they
if
do
you
the budget.
don't, put it back.
these are the dates, it has to be in by the 22nd.
You can't vote then.
We had no one hit the guardrail up there yesterday.
I had to tell that, but if maybe you have it done Thursday, and you
Eight
need
mile north there.
to meet at
Good morning.
a later
Get on.
time.
Yeah, about 6:30 in the morning,
Or
yeah.
something, but.
And then up there on the other end, option S, there,
Here by
drop the ditch, and he's going back up too. Still there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and
They were concerned Troy and
decide to run it.
They'll both be here? Oh, no, I don't know, since they're working, I don't know your email. Oh, 7:30, 4:30.
You get 30.
Pretty good.
They had that, one yesterday, was kind of surprising. The wrecker showed up, there were 2 vehicles involved in the accident.
And the record loaded one and towed the other one, one record with both of them. Yeah. I never seen that done before. They are both pretty dang good.
Yeah.
You'll notice Steve still isn't paper copy. It is
I love
Well, you had to do
it.
that a couple of years ago.
Good job, Mary.
He tried it. I hate computers.
Yeah. Are you good? Good.
Well, the problem is it's a little screen, and sometimes they have to go like this. And then. I like it. And then I have to get off my big Mac.
You look like you would be.
It's getting close to bedtime.
Yep.
How are you?
Hey, Shirley,
How you doing?
pretty good. I got a petition I want to sign.
No, I'm not, I don't think I'm going that far, I just wanted to see who was running.
Okay. Good.
See,
So I was
Shirley, you
checking
can
it.
get all the signatures right.
I can
Well,
run
you got a good start.
Just got those electronic.
Here's your chance, Shirley.
I know it is.
Tell them don't get used to it.
All right. They don't have a phone.
Take care of your Tuesdays.
Yeah, I would take care of my. Now, I just wanted, they had some information I was wanting to see who they were, because I didn't recognize them.
I'm like a 2-year-old up there.
No.
Trying to hang on to the switch.
But David wanted
How are ya?
the pack.
Okay, you know.
More or less, so far so good.
Great.
Yep. A lot of reading.
Spend a lot of money.
Listen to Al, I'm running the living room with
Yeah,
headphones on. And headphones on. I don't know if she's talking to me or a customer.
How are you?
I'm
doing well. How are you?
Oh, those dogs. I was breaking it out. I know. If somebody breaks in, I bet they'll just. Oh, wow. If I break in, I'm sure. Oh, yeah. Just bring some.
But they have yet to be there at 7:20.
Are you on rotation right now?
Oh, no, not. Some of them are quick sticks. Quite a few of them.
A couple more left.
But, a few weeks.
Great.
You
Hopefully
go
it's
on
short
because of the
sale.
surgery?
What's that?
You go on rotation because of the surgery?
Hello, Carl.
Hi, guys. Yes, I am.
Oh, what? What's our future millionaire?
I don't know.
We'll have to walk.
You know, I don't know, well, we haven't even told any that was waiting.
What's your, kind of?
What are you gonna do?
Start to smell
I
that.
wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot.
Last year they
Oh,
got,
okay.
got around.
The water, like raw water?
Oh, yeah, you can't do that.
Depends on how dry they are when you have them.
You know, well, because they already have many horses, and there's a lot of horses that are about to be lost.
Yeah, definitely.
All the no problem heading and
Yeah, if you're good at riding them, they like that.
No, it never is. Great. Financial. So, once the
Maybe they'll have one.
I took your advice on the other two, and it's made a little money.
Oh, yeah.
AT&T and.
Yell at them.
No, they're still working on it.
Oh, they're
Every
putting
day. Yeah, it all be covered. Yeah, we'll actually, today, you know, it's Bob and they want to for it. They're gonna be around, they're around for a long time, they're gonna be around both of them. Very well managed company. They got part of the process.
It went up, I don't know, a little bit sometimes, and I don't know why.
That's for another one.
Do they take it?
That's another day.
That was part of the process.
One of,
Got it off.
Too much of different places.
you have everybody from three companies. Who's there?
I'll get it when I start talking.
We want to hear your
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah, I think you already did it.
They will take the oil out.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I call to order the meeting of Platteville Board of Trustees for Tuesday, January 16th. Could we please observe a moment of silence to honor the people who stand guard inside and outside our borders to protect and serve? Thank you. Would you please stand for the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Steve Nelson.
Here.
Excuse me. Mayor Pro Tem Hope Morris.
Here.
Larry Clark.
Here.
Adrian Sandoval.
Here.
Kim Nelson.
Here.
Michael Cowper. Troy Blum.
Okay. Next, we have approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have audience participation. Is there anybody that would like to address the board? Okay. Next, we have approval of the consent agenda. Now, there's several things that are going to be changed. First is the Section 125 agreement. We're going to change to F1 on the action items. Next one is the financials. We're going to move that to F2 on action items. And paid bills, we're going to move that to F3. If anybody would like to make a motion for this under the amendment?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have action items. First one is Rogers Farm Vidco ditch fence issue discussion. Mr. Rankin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you recall, this is on the last agenda as an update for the board. As you well aware, there's a big agreement regarding a fence along the Farmers Independent ditch along the third phase of Rogers Farm primarily. The fence is on all three phases. I was notified by the ditch company that we had some representatives attend tonight, which we do. I think at this time, I'm going to defer to members of the board or their attorney to address the board or provide an update on their behalf. Okay. Gary? Sorry.
All right. I'll let you go ahead and take it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Terry Wheelan representing the Farmers Independent Ditch, and we're here tonight, President Eckhart and board member, what's his name? Scott Miney. And we have our attorney is here tonight to represent the Vidco board. We've had a issue with a Crow Creek Construction Company, the company that did the subdivision over here on the Rogers Farm. When they came in and did the subdivision, they put in the fence along the ditch, along the border of the ditch, and they didn't follow the guidelines like we would hope they would have, and they didn't check with us when they did it. The older subdivision, which is to the south of it, which is part of the Plum subdivision, when they put that fence line in and stuff, they put in a cement wall about a foot above the ground, and then put the chain link fence above that to help from erosion coming into the ditch, and also for safety to keep it from having any erosion problems. Well, when they did the new construction, J&J, Crow Creek Construction, when they put in the new fence, they just went in there and they just put it in there. It didn't really follow the ditch, it didn't really follow the pattern, and they did not put a cement curb on the bottom of the ditch, or excuse me, on the bottom of the fence, which the lots, if you've ever been back there and looked at them, all the new lots, they slope towards the Farmers Independent ditch, so if there's ever a big rain or any type of flooding, the erosion coming into our ditch will be pretty substantial because they didn't put that cement girder underneath the chain link fence. So we've been back and forth with the subdivision builders, the Crow Creek Construction Company, J&J Homes, and negotiated back and forth, and they agreed that they probably didn't put the fence in correctly. They agreed that they would come in and redo the fence, put in the concrete footer, like the Plum subdivision is, and move the fence that they have now and move it over next to the ditch and do it properly. The dispute we have is the cost of that's gonna be over $60,000 to put in the concrete and to move the ditch. Crow Creek Construction Company, part of J.J. Homes, has agreed that they would pay half. So the dilemma we have is, the ditch company is, that we don't feel like we should be paying the other half because they should have put it in correctly at the first. So, we thought we'd come to the town tonight and ask if they would be willing to help us with paying part of that construction, because the fence needs to be in for safety, so kids don't play in the ditch and everything else that's involved. Also, when they put in the fence, the one stipulation they're supposed to have is about 10 to 15 feet of gravel or rock along the fence, so we don't have a problem when we burn the ditch, so we don't have a problem with fire or anything else that might catch fire in the backyards or even the houses themselves. So, while we're asking for his participation from the town tonight, we'd like to get $10,000 from the town to help put in the fence. Like I said, it's gonna cost $60,000. J&J has offered to pay around half. The ditch company is willing to put up to $20,000, and so we'd like to get a little participation from the town of Platteville, if possible, to help get this done, because it needs to be done for safety and everything else. So that's why we're here tonight, and I'm here to answer any questions. The rest of us are here tonight, so we'll try and answer any questions, and I'll open it now for that.
Thank you, Terry. I'll defer to the board for discussion.
Do we have?
It's not budgeted, but the funds potentially available, probably.
Which fund?
General fund contingency or public facilities improvements, and that's not public facilities, probably capital improvement fund, but that's pretty strained because of the senior center expansion.
Very strange.
I don't see a special revenue fund that could apply unless we justify that we're paying for the improvements on our outlot, which is part of our park, and we may be able to use some park funds. I don't know what the balance is. Without looking at the budget, but there's not a whole lot in there. But the general fund would be my fancy general fund probably.
My opinion is, if this is a private dispute, I don't know why the town would have standing in this issue. Now, true, it was originally part of our PIA, is that not correct?
Correct.
But that is still, doesn't put a fiduciary duty on us, does it?
No, I mean, no, there's no independent duty to ensure that Journey Homes complied with the recorded covenants, which is the allegation from the ditch.
Right.
you know, there is as we talked about before, I don't want to go into too much legal detail, but as we talked about before, there's a provision in the agreement that requires them to comply with all applicable law. When I say them, it's Journey Homes, but,
Right.
and there's an argument that they didn't, but it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Correct, correct. But I still fail to see where the town has exposure in this.
How many homeowners are we talking about?
Kern Mass, do you remember how many are along that third phase?
34 through 46 are the lot numbers.
Okay.
12 or 13.
Can I ask, what does the ditch do to ensure homeowner property doesn't fall into the ditch with via erosion?
Well, there's not really anything, the ditch company, you know, the ditch company is there, the ditch company's been there forever. When they came in and did the excavating for the subdivision, they took part of that bank off of there, and the backyards of all those houses sloped towards the ditch, quite a bit more so than the older homes that are to the south of that in the Plum subdivision. So that's our main concern, and it will be a problem, and our main thing is if we can get that concrete border up there, there will be drain pipe put into that cement, so the amount of water will be kind of regulated so it doesn't erode into the ditch and cause a problem. Because what happens when you have erosion, then the fence falls down, and then you have all other issues in the back there of those lot owners.
I can also speak to that. So back in 2000, the ditch company negotiated with the original developer, which was Plum, and they came to agreement on the covenants and the content of those. So the fencing requirements, the gravel requirements, all of the specifications that Plum agreed with the ditch company to abide by were recorded, written down, and they're in the county record. So that's what the ditch company did initially to ensure everybody's safety and agreement. Then Plum sold the development to J&J Journey Homes. The ditch company's position is that Journey Homes did not follow the letter and also intent of that. So that's a little bit more background on that.
I appreciate it.
So, what did the homeowners say? If there's like 12 homes, if they all contribute $1,000, the problem is solved.
I can't speak to owners that approach that question.
It does seem two-pronged to me. To me, it appears that the builder has a liability to the ditch company, to the homeowners. And the second one, it appears to me like the homeowners have an issue of due diligence on their part to have researched this stuff, because after all, it is their I can't in all good conscience ask the people of Platteville to indemnify on private property. Indemnify people on private property. This is something that when you're buying a piece of property, you have to do your research. This seems to me to be a private matter. This doesn't, I don't see where the town has standing to be involved in this personally. I'm sorry if that doesn't sound...
I'm thinking back when I bought our home 20 years ago, and the builder said make a list of anything that, you know, was sufficient. And I made a list, and they didn't pay for a thing, and I could have bought them, or I could have paid, and I just paid and fixed what needed to be fixed. I think the ditch board and Journey Home are stretching quite a bit to settle this, and I think private owners, if there's 12 of them, a little less than $1,000 to participate in this and resolve the issue. I don't know that I can ask the citizens of the town to shell out $10,000 for private property.
Have any of the owners been contacted regarding this part of the issue?
Payment? No.
Never asked them for payment. They did have a meeting with everyone and discussed the issue.
Yes, correct. We did that last summer.
Yeah.
Most of them, if not all of them attended that meeting, and they are aware of the issue. But
Can we
there's
approach
been no
them?
discussion of payment on the part of the homeowners for this. However, the alternative, one of the alternatives for the ditch company, and it's sort of a fairness question here, is So Journey Homes comes in and builds this fence not to the specification they're supposed to, and when they sell that lot, that becomes the homeowner's issue. So the ditch company could, in theory, enforce these covenants against the homeowners themselves and say, homeowner, you need to pour a concrete wall in the back of your yard and fix the fence. We've been trying to avoid that as a ditch company because we know that it's not fair to let a developer come in, do something wrong, and then leave that mess to a homeowner to clean up that may or may not have been aware of that requirement. So that's the other option that the ditch company has not explored, but is existing out there, so.
Personally, if I bought one of those, someone that had this issue and they're willing to come to the store, I would show up to resolve, like I had to with my own home.
The only problem you have is most of those homeowners don't have $1,000 extra or whatever it would take to do it, that's the dilemma.
So if my furnace goes out, I have to buy a furnace whether I have money or not.
Right, exactly. Yep, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Can we approach the homeowners?
Let me address Adrian's question first.
Oh, when, the fence, or there's a plan, a site plan, and when that was submitted, who signed off saying that that fence, the way it is built now, is sufficient?
The public, as part of those covenants were part of the overall public improvements. But they weren't the town's public improvements, they were for the ditch company.
Okay.
I think there was some assumption that was gone, and I'll admit, I assumed that the Journey Homes and the ditch had talked and discussed the fence, but it wasn't a town issue.
Sure.
But David and I and our engineer, primarily David and Steve McPherson engineer, they checked and did a punch list of public improvements after the fact, which were corrected. But at the time they were built, they did inspections, or the town did, from sidewalk, asphalt, so on and so forth. So to answer your question, the town oversaw its part of the improvements. We just did not think of overseeing the covenants for the ditch company. I saw the fence going up, but I just assumed, but I did not inspect it, no.
So we didn't have standing in this issue from the beginning.
Well, I don't know about standing, I mean, the part of the public improvements, we have a letter of credit on file that they did extend till March 1.
We still have that until March 1st.
And part of the conversation I've had with the town attorney and also the ditch board's attorney is, and the ditch board as well as yourself, is could the town potentially draw down on that to remedy the situation? There is...
Yeah, and I don't think we should talk about that
Yeah, exactly.
in public.
No,
That's
but
illegal.
it is a legal matter, I'm not going into detail, but that's
Yeah.
out there, and that's part of the public improvements as well. That's my point, is public improvements issue. So, but that's, I don't think that's an option there.
Well, I'm gonna throw my 2 cents in. I agree. I think, that it's not fair for us to ask the whole town to pay for somebody else's property that they're not, they don't have anything to do with. So I don't think it's fair to come and ask for the town for money. Expecting the whole citizens of the town to pay for these 12 people's property. I don't think that's fair.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
I actually took the opportunity to see the properties involved, not only phase 1, but phase 2 where the problem is. I can see that the first part of the development